Hello and welcome to this edition of Bayou Time. Your host Keith Whiteside here in very historic La Petite de Terrebonne as we were here to celebrate the ribbon cutting of this new reconstruction and the new play that's coming up very soon.
My name is Doug Holloway. I'm the president of the board at Le Petit Theater de Terrebonne. And on behalf of the board, I want to welcome you to our newly renovated Le Petit Theater de Terrebonne. It has been a long time coming. And I know those of you who have been past patrons of the theater understand that, because for the past over 10 years, we have been trying to raise money to get this process going. And we faced some obstacles along the way. One of those was funding issue. We had some hiccups with funding. And then we had COVID, which nobody wants to talk about. And then we had Hurricane Ida, again, which nobody wants to talk about. But after Hurricane Ida, when I came back here from Mississippi, I checked out my home, and then the second place I came to was the theater, because I wanted to make sure the theater was okay, because I had seen pictures all on social media about downtown Houma, and I was concerned. And so I got down here and I checked the outside and it looked okay, and I went in the front door and I came in here, and all I saw was where there was a small little wet spot. The stage used to be a little bit further, like right over here, and that was it. And I said, wow, this lady is tough. She's tougher than our longest serving board member, Edwina Jacobson. And if you know Edwina, that's tough, you know. So we are just so grateful that she made it through that, and that we were able to go through some supply chain issues as well that slowed us down. But here we are. Steve has been the guy to get this accomplished. He really has. And he's the one who grieves the wheels with all the movers and shakers at the state level and at the local level. And without him, we wouldn't have this, we wouldn't be in here today with this newly renovated theater. And I'm going to turn it over now to my good friend and fellow board member, Steve Crispino.
Thank you, buddy. Appreciate it. That's a lot of credit, and it's not true, but it's okay, because it's a lot of people. I mean, the theater is as old, not even as old as Edwina, so it was, but it's dang close. So it's all the patrons over all the years. What year did we pick it back up after 37? I think 1955. And we've been in this building since when? 1961. Who's born in 61? Anybody? Reggie? Dang, that's a bad example. Because Reggie hasn't held up real well. If I just let him walk across, you'll see this old building held up better than Reggie. It's terrible. So you know how old it was. It was older than that, but we've been in here since then. It was time. If you have been in this building, it was time. Have you had a chance just to look at the bathroom? That had to be the first thing you looked at. And when you walked in, it's like, I can't wait to use this. I don't blame you. Pee away on your way out. It's worth it. It's worth the experience. But just real short history is, I think this really it started a long time ago, but where it really jump-started was with Senator Norby Chabert. I think he's in the back. I took my glasses off. Usually, he's got this aura, this little, aura about him, so I knew he was going to be somewhere close. And I think it was Karen Schilling who put him in a headlock and said, "You're going to help us."
And Red.
And who?
And
Red. So it worked, because Norby was the first guy who stepped up and said, "Let me see what I can do for you guys." And he went out and he got us approved for over a couple years. We know the state process, but for capital outlay. So him and all of the other state legislators helped, but he really spearheaded this and stayed with us along the way. Even when he got out, I would call Norby saying, "All right, this is going on, what next?" So he really has helped me through this whole process. And then, as time passes, I don't know if you've noticed, things get a little more expensive over time. And we had gotten to the point where we went out to bid. Our original bid was $1 million, and then our next bid was $1.5 million, and we were short. We didn't know what we were going to do. And then this man, Mr. Gordon Dove, stepped up and said, "We need this theater downtown." But his exact words were, "Wait, that's my building?" I think that's where I had him, when he realized that he's going to get this building back gutted, and then he's got to spend some money anyways. But very nice, really wanted the theater downtown, understands the importance of this being a downtown thing for Houma, for Terrebonne. You look around, and this is definitely something to be proud of. Along the way, the Planets Design Group had helped us out at the beginning with some initial plans. We couldn't touch the outside of the building. It's historic. But inside, this thing was taken down to nothing except a little bit of backstage was left. Everything else was torn out. This is all brand new stuff. So it's a nice new theater, but if you get the chance to walk in the back, you'll notice we tried to save as much history. Everybody who does a play signs a wall. There was a light booth back there that people signed the wall. There was some places upstairs, some backstage that we had to cover. But we tried to save as much history. So since 1955, people have been, or 61, people have been signing those walls. So you might know some people back there. There was a few ghosts in the building. JJR, Justin Reeves Construction, was able, I think, to get them out because I would not come in this building by myself. It was scary. They found a few things in the attic, but our project manager, Brad, is here. DDG, I have Grant, who's our project manager there. And then with the parish, Madeline in engineering. Those three made this happen from the building blocks. But the state level, all of our legislators were great to deal with. Locally, Gordy stepped up and had to go to the council, and the council, every time he went to them and said, let's help the little theater, let's help Le Petit, let's keep it downtown, there was never anybody who complained. So we really, from the bottom of our heart, appreciate everything y'all have done. This was $1.8 million. It is a lot. You look up at these lights, which we need 8 more, but you look up at these lights, you know, they're state of the art. You go in the light booth. I went up there after a 5-minute training. Reggie and I had training. I went back up there and I went, what? Like I went a week later and I couldn't even turn the lights on. So I need some young people to help me one day. It's not an old people theater anymore. So we have technology. This is a beautiful place. We want people to come here. So thank you to everybody, our patrons over the years who we kept telling you we're going to do this, we're going to do this. It's done.
From when Norby, like they were talking about Norby when we were in the legislature, he really made it his mission to get this thing going. And when I became parish president, I made sure, getting with them, the money was there. You know, and I'll be honest with you, when we looked at it about a couple of months ago, I went in the back and I saw all that writing on the wall. I just thought we ran out of money again and didn't paint it. But I didn't know that was a historic thing, so I'm glad to know that. But no, look, hats off to everyone in here. Y'all never gave up. I know we had a property line problem that Mr. Jules Bear straightened out, and we were with y'all every step of the way. And then they approached me and said, I said, y'all got new seats, huh? He says, no. And I remember, I haven't come to many plays, and I should have, but I remember sitting over there and reaching under the seat, and there was a lot of bubble gum, you know? And I said, okay, how much you need for some seats here? He said, we got the 60,000 version and the 80,000 version. I said, okay, let's do the 80,000 version. And I want to thank my council members here, and they okayed the 80, and we move forward. But look, the hats off on to me. It's to all of y'all for never stopping. You know, we get a lot of projects done in Terrebonne Parish because our people are resilient and they don't quit. And y'all didn't quit. God bless y'all. God bless the veterans, and God bless this theater and the people in it. Thank you.
Talked enough about him. I'd like to get Norby up here just for, man, I hate to even tell Norby a few words. That could be hours. But we're going to give that a shot. But before he comes up here, I definitely want to thank our board. Our board has stayed pretty consistent for a while, and they put up with a lot from me because I went in and basically said, hey, this is what we're doing. And they wanted some input, and I'm like, no, you're not there. This is what we're doing. And they took it. Y'all were silly, but y'all took it. Well, yes, ma'am. You almost took it. I got phone calls from Edwina every time I did that. I will have to say that.
Well, it's a pleasure to be with y'all. I was happy to be approached by that delegation of thespians that one day at my office on Barrett Street in the back. And it was an interesting day, not quite like you told the story, so I'll relive a little bit for you. So I look at Steve, he gives me the pitch, he tells me how much money they had saved over the years through selling cookies and tickets and bake sales, blood drives, everything. I said, well, you know, I know that y'all had gotten wind of this for the work that we did restoring the Talbot Theater at Nicholls State University with the support of a lot of the community foundations around the region. And it's a beautiful facility if you haven't seen it yet. The ilk that we have in here, I'm sure you have. We did that through a partnership in a similar way that we did this one, much grander scale, great. But the way I accepted that challenge was I told Mr. Danos that, you know, I spent the majority of my time in Talbot Hall, so it was a passion of mine, and not only that, and then I related to Karen. I said, Karen, I too am an actor. It's true. No, she said, it's true. I said, I studied under the great performing arts teacher, Miss Lou Bergeron, at Apollonia School, the mystic art of tinkling, to perform on the grand stage of the Red Dog Saloon at the Lagniappe Fair. No, she says. I said, true. I said, and then, maybe my highest honor of stage, really wasn't a stage, it was an altar, Stephen. I was Jesus in the St. Joseph's Passion Play. Top that, Crispino.
Is that the year the church burned?
No, it was after that. And then, I became a Nicholls player. I can't forget Miss Sandra Chauvin at South Terrebonne, who taught me speech 1, 2, 3, 4. If that had been a 9, I'd have taken that one. I was there long enough. And then at Nicholls, I was a Nicholls player. Studied, my troop captain was the immortal Jonathan Foray. And you know, one of the great things we'd call, he said, he wanted to be very Robin Williams-like, so we called him, oh, Captain, my captain, like that poeticized. Except when we said it, we was like, oh, Captain, my captain, come back. And so I said, Karen, no, it's true, I'm an actor. And just, I don't know, bear with me, but every time I get on stage, I think back to some of my earliest things, and I'm gonna do a little Shakespeare for you, if that's okay. Is that okay? Romeo and Juliet, you know I'm a hopeless romantic. So I don't remember the scene, I'm bad with the math, but it was something along the lines of soft, what light through, something in my throat. Mais Garois, the sun in the east, that's Juliet, she's coming. May it come, Juliet, bring some coffee and some beignets. That was not how it went, but if Shakespeare was a Jeremy, that's exactly how it would have went. All right? So Karen, if you find it in your heart, and Steve doesn't have all the good roles and you need a stand-in, call me. But thank y'all. No, really, it was my honor. I love the theater. I can't thank Gordy enough, who supported it when we were in the legislature. And when it came down to it, to make it happen, Gordy and the parish council made it happen. But as Steve said, it was a multi-year process. So Tanner McGee, who represents the area, Beryl Hamade, Ziza Rang, without them, we couldn't have got it across the finish line. So as much credit as I get for being the first person that Karen put in the headlock, she put a bunch of people in the headlock. So thank y'all. Looking forward to the new season. Thank you, brother.
As I just finished a play in Thibodeau, my favorite line from that play was, "Child, sit you down." It was really one I had to say. I really loved delivering that one. All right, so our Paul, what's next? Outside. Outside to the ribbon cutting.
1, 2, 3.
And now we'll turn our attention to some of the people that actually made this happen, both legislatively and locally, as well as some of the leaders in the theater. Standing here with our parish president, and so very excited. He and Norby right here. So many people have made this come to fruition, and we appreciate it very, very much. Go ahead and just talk about how exciting it is that we've finally been able to finish this endeavor here at La Petite.
Well, it's been going on so long, this beautiful building, built in 1917, which is over 100 years old. And as time marched on, I know Norby's got the original money, and when I became parish president, I was approached, and that became one of our missions out of many, and we were able to fund it, and then come back and fund it, and then come back and fund the new chairs. So I want to thank, the council was there right there with me, and but the people of the theater and the people of Terrebonne just never quit and rebuilt an iconic theater in Terrebonne Parish.
Right, and I got to tell you, I know you're humble about it, but I know that was an option when you heard that they didn't have new chairs, and you had just decided that's something you wanted the parish to do. So we appreciate you stepping up and doing that. And I know you're humble about it, but it's something that really this parish has been dedicated to. So thank you for helping to make this as beautiful as it is.
It's every elected official to spend the money cautiously and wisely, but what for quality of life, what a better investment for the people of Terrebonne Parish than a theater. And so it's back online. The electrical is up to date, and I mean it's a beautiful historic building in Terrebonne Parish, owned by Terrebonne Parish people.
Exactly, and they put that through. And Norby, it was one of your visions, I know, as you mentioned earlier, very dedicated to the cause, but you really championed this early on. Talk about how good it's got to feel to be standing here in this new reconstructed theater.
Oh, I mean, it feels great. Like Gordy was saying, you've got an iconic exterior, and it's a completely modern interior. The heartbeat of a town is always downtown. And look, I've been a business owner, invested money in businesses down here. My office when I was in the legislature was just 2 blocks over. Houma has a downtown that everybody wants to come to. Heck, how many movies have we have here? We just had Where the Crawdad Sings. The art scene is something that we aspire to grow in Terrebonne Parish. And what better way to do that than to make sure that a theater that we've had for so long, wasn't shut down because, the jokes have been made about the restrooms, but they weren't ADA compliant.
No,
okay, and you'll get shut down. And a lot of our matinee patrons are folks that may be in walkers or wheelchairs and whatnot, and they need to use the facilities, and they need to, more importantly, be able to actually access the building, right? So we put in some ramps and made everything important to make sure that those that might have some difficulty getting up the steps could do that. So for that alone, I know Gordy's just as happy about that, and all the folks that made this a possibility are happy that all patrons of Terrebonne Parish can now come into this facility.
And here we are with 2 of the people that have really made this happen, continue to make this happen, and are so very dedicated to the theater here at La Petite de Terrebonne. And I will tell you, the person standing to my right is the person that helped me fall in love with being on stage and in front of the camera. And so we've got Pat Crochet here, Doug Holloway. So very glad that we're here at this completely renovated theater in La Petite. And so, Doug, let's just start with you as president. You talked about some of the things that were important, but this has been a long time coming, and we've got to feel excited as the board president.
Oh, absolutely. Very excited about it. I mean, it was like I had told everybody, it's been over 10 years that we were trying to just sell cookies and fundraise to get the money to have this theater renovated. And we realized at some point that we weren't going to be able to do it on our own, even as a community. And that's when we reached out to Norby and Gordy and got the money to help this happen. It's been an amazing experience, and we're so glad it's accomplished.
And it's really, really nice for everybody here, really excited about that. The other thing that we want to see is, as Doug talked about where we've come from, we want to talk about where we're going. So Pat, let's just talk about directing the show. I was fortunate enough, I was in this show many, many years ago with some of the long-term patrons and actors and actresses here. Let's talk about how exciting it is to have the theater completely redone and y'all doing this show in the theater.
It's wonderful. We're doing Neil Simon's Come Blow Your Horn, and it's a funny and the actors and actresses are just amazing. They've all been on stage before, and they know their way around, and it's a joy. It's a joy.
Well, and you've helped do that for many generations of people. And I don't want to age you, but I played the 18-year-old. I wasn't 18, but I played the 18-year-old in this particular production, and it was wonderful. We're so very excited about you being a part of the theater, and more importantly, directing this first show back in this new theater. So thank you very much for your years of service and what you continue to do. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
And Doug, thank you very much for the leadership, the guidance, and being the president of a very challenging board sometimes. You know, I hate to say it, but some of them have some strong opinions, and that's not a bad thing.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
But it's like herding cats.
Yeah, I know that's right. And then one stray cat in Steve, so we get it. So thank y'all so very much, and thank y'all for helping get to where we are. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank
We
you.
really appreciate it.
And thank you so much for joining us. That'll do it for this particular Bayou Time. Don't go anywhere. A lot more local programming here on HTV.